Hey YouTubers, Raven here.
Starfire!
And today, it's still daytime. Today, we're reviewing the last 2 weeks.
Yes, of The Flash. So last week and this week's episode.
Yes.
So season 8, episode 2, and episode 3. Armageddon, part 2 and part 3.
Mm-hmm. They were pretty good episodes.
So much happened.
Yes. We both just got done watching them.
So much happened.
Right? Like, I was all for, like, the Flash, like, trying to, like, beat, like, prove to him that, you know, like,
Despero.
To Despero that he's not, like, gonna turn and, like, lose his mind and shit. And I was like, okay, that's great. And I was like, he won't fail, he never does. And then the villain of the week pops up, and then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. I kind of liked her. The actress looked really familiar to me. And they never actually did they catch.
Wait, who?
Yeah, he caught her.
Which
one? The psychic woman.
Oh, Dylan?
No. The black chick. The villain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she looked really familiar to me. Like, I have to know her from some other show. Like, if I know her from another show, you know, not just like, oh yeah, I've seen her. But if I know her from another show and I can't remember, that's gonna, you know, piss me off. But
let me see. I will look her up.
Okay. I enjoyed how, like, Team Flash had to fight the Flash in his own apartment.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of funny. I mean, scary, you know, but
yeah,
it was an interesting twist. I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we knew that, yeah, no, Barry's gonna lose us today.
Yep.
And, like, I don't know. I enjoyed that. I thought the little squares of whatever that she had on her face.
Mm-hmm.
You know how she made the.
Her name was Zotar.
Yeah.
Candy say McClure?
I don't know names.
Let's see.
She did.
4 episodes of The New Charmed as the Guardian.
Hmm.
The Good Doctor, Ghost Wars, Supernatural as 1 episode.
So I probably know her from.
It was in season 11, The Chitters.
I probably know her from Charmed then.
She's in 1 episode of Haven. She was in 10 episodes of Hemlock Grove.
Oh, she was in Alphas?
Okay. 1 episode.
Oh. Barbie, a fashion fairy tale.
Persons Unknown, 9 episodes. She was in Battlestar Galactica. She was Anastasia Duala.
Okay. We only saw, like, the first couple seasons of Battlestar Galactica, and then my parents stopped watching.
She's in 3 episodes of Sanctuary. She was Harmony in Smallville. Harmony / Dawn Styles in Smallville.
Okay, now I'm getting angry. You know, like, I've seen her in all these things. I know her.
It's okay.
She
was also in 2 episodes of Dark Angel.
Fuck. Really? She was in Dark Angel?
2 episodes! Annie Fisher.
I missed that show.
And she was in Higher Ground, which only went 22 episodes. Yeah.
Damn.
So Battlestar Galactica is probably what she's most known for.
Right. So I've seen her in a lot of previews. So yeah. Damn. I'm mad now. Like I said I would be if I knew her, and I know her.
It's okay. We forget. I see people that I'm like, I've seen them in something else.
Right, but like when they've been on that many things that you've watched and like been on more than one episode, more than a handful of episodes on almost every one, then it's like, yeah, no, bitch, you should have.
Yeah, well, in Charmed she's in 4 episodes. Smallville she's just in 1 episode.
Right.
So.
She's probably like the villain of the week during one of the first couple seasons, and they're still in high school.
Oh, for Smallville?
Yeah. So I really enjoyed her. I wish we would have gotten to see more of her.
Yeah.
And like how she did things. Like I understand why we didn't, but I hope that we get another episode where maybe she escapes Iron Heights or wherever the hell they plug her in. And that we get to see her more. Maybe she becomes the new gangster on the street that the Flash and friends kind of become friends with.
Maybe.
Because that blonde chick died, didn't she? The metallurgy woman?
I think so. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure she died helping them.
She probably did.
Like, betraying her boyfriend partner guy.
Yeah.
Pretty sure she died. But yeah. So. Yeah. I really enjoyed the first episode until the end. The ending threw me for a huge damn loop. Joe's dead. Joe's dead.
He's not dead.
I mean, he is, though.
He's dead, but he's not permanently dead.
Yeah. I mean, to kind of fix it. But...
Because, like I was saying, I refuse to accept the fact that this is the last we will see of Jesse L. Martin.
Right.
He's too important of a character to the show to not have a proper send-off.
Completely.
Killing his character like that and just being like, oh yeah, it's been 6 months, he was hit by a train, he's dead, yeah.
Right.
It's just such a disservice. Like, I can't accept that that's how he dies. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just it. That's the end. There's nothing more to that. Because, like I said, he's
too integral to the show.
He is.
And we're still keeping Cecile. So, like...
and because, like, in the beginning, she would, say a lot, like, well, he's the mentor, so he's gonna die at some point, know. But when he kept sticking around, we're like, okay, well, maybe they're doing this differently,
Right. Because, I mean, like, yeah, Eobard Wells was, we're not there yet. He was, like, Barry's mentor, yes.
Yeah.
But he was also evil, and we all knew it. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, like, I never really saw him as the true mentor. I always saw Joe as the mentor.
Yeah.
Because he's been there raising him since he was a child.
Right. He raised him.
Right.
And he's Iris's father.
Exactly. And I mean, even in the hero's journey, the archetype and life of a hero's journey, the parents usually aren't alive either. Mm-hmm. So it's not just the mentor that dies or has been dead, it's also the parents.
Right. And they have to learn to, like, fend for themselves on their own.
Yeah.
And, like, they find out that they have these abilities and that they have these things and, yeah, so it's... And just the way that it happened, it just didn't seem authentic. It didn't seem... It just all, like...
The whole video looked fake.
Like Iris was saying, it all seemed like it was planned.
It's so, like, the fact that Barry can't remember, and then he was forced to remember or be told on this day that he's supposed to lose his mind. Like, it's all just way too, like, coincidental.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was saying before we started, I think that, I mean, going into the third episode, not the end. I keep seeing your faces like every time we talk about something from the third episode. It's like that ending. But like, I think about the video that we see of it happening. I was like, oh, he got hit by an Amtrak? That's anticlimactic. Like,
but the way he falls.
Like, the fact that you can hear the damn train coming, and there's an announcement on the thing, right? There's always an announcement that the train's coming through. And, I mean,
he was on the phone, so maybe he wasn't paying attention and didn't hear it.
Or, like, you hear stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether you're on the phone or not, it's really loud. You can't ignore that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even hear the other person on the other side of the phone usually.
Right.
It's so damn loud. Like, we've both ridden enough trains to know the train station works. And so it's just like, it's so confusing that Joe, one of the smartest people on the show, right, would know that a train is coming and walk that close to the edge.
Mm-hmm.
While he knows that he is not entirely focused on not falling. Like, because I know when my attention is split and I'm in a situation that could be life or death, I'm not going to go closer to the death section of that equation. Right. Like, I mean, if I hear my phone go off and I'm driving, right? Mm-hmm. I'm either going to pull over to the side or wait until I'm at a red light, to glance at it.
Yeah.
And if it's important, then I'll pull over, Like, I'm not going to, like, oh, yes, my attention is only going to be halfway on one thing, like 90% on my phone and 10% on the road, when I know that the road is, like, 100% life or death. Like, like, I'm not going to do that. So, I don't see why Joe would do that with a train.
Right.
Like, he's smarter than me. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. It's just...
So it said, ahead of Season 8, TV Line asked the Flash showrunner Eric Wallace about any storylines on tap for after the 5-part Armageddon event. When the topic turned to Joe West, and after considering his words carefully, Wallace said, possible spoiler alert, let's just say that Joe is going to get an incredibly different perspective on life, and it's going to lead him to, I think, a really big choice. Everybody seems to think the big choice he made was last year, to put down his badge, but there is a much bigger choice coming his way in Season 8 that takes the character down a path that he didn't know he was on, but that will feel like it's the place he always needed to go.
Well, I hope it feels that way.
So that right there should tell us that he's not actually dead.
I mean, even without reading that, like, I know he's not, because, like, everything Iris found out.
Because, like I said, they can't just not have him be back.
Right.
He can't just go like that.
Yeah, they can't do that.
They can. They can do whatever the hell they want to do.
Right, but they'd lose so much. They
need to give a character that has been on a show for 8 years the proper send off.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it with Cisco, and they did it with Wells in a way. So definitely Cisco.
Right.
But, Joe has been there from the start.
Mm-hmm.
He's been the guiding voice of wisdom in Barry's life.
Yeah.
He has just been that person that always knows what to say.
Mm-hmm.
And always, does the right thing, or possibly the best thing he can do.
Right.
In any situation. And, for a character to just be like left for dead, basically,
right.
and just saying, oh yeah, he died off screen 6 months ago. It's like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what you give us?
Yeah.
Like, that is not,
Mm-mm.
it's not okay.
Right.
So reading that gives me a little bit more hope that things will be different.
I mean, even if I didn't read that,
yeah,
it's like the way that they filmed that death scene, and like,
I mean,
I can't.
This season
so
could
fake.
potentially, like, later on in the season could potentially be like his last season,
right?
Where he's like sent off and he doesn't come back, because if this choice is something that has to do with that,
right?
I mean,
were we told that Jesse was thinking of leaving?
Well, not necessarily, but he only signed on the contract for like 1 more year for season 8. So people are just thinking that because it was just 1 year instead of like a couple more years, that he's probably not going to come back later. But I don't know. I mean, that could always change.
Right. I mean, he could just be seeing how this 1 year goes, since, I mean, last season he was dealing with his back issues. And then there was an entire year of no acting. And then, so he probably signed that thinking that they were going to film last year, seeing how his back would do for a season after a couple months break.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he signed on for 1 more season.
Well, because he did come back after all of that, though.
Well, right, but he was only on it every so often, and he was usually sitting down, or like they were catering to what he needed. But this was the first time he signed on for another full contract after he injured himself.
Yeah.
So he maybe he was thinking, I don't know if I can keep going.
Right.
But if I can't, then this will give them an option to write me out.
Yeah.
If I can, then yeah, I'll sign on for another season. That could be where his mind's at.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying it is, because how would I know?
Yeah.
But it is an option. One that I am thinking.
Well, I mean, like we've said, I mean, we're closer to the end of The Flash than we are the beginning. So, Arrow went 8 seasons, and, only 10 episodes for season 8, though. The Flash is going to be way more than that.
Yeah.
But, so The Flash technically will be on longer than Arrow was.
Well, because this isn't the final season either.
No, it's not. But, it also depends on how long the actors plan to do it. If specific actors that are integral to the show leave, then
they have to stop.
Then they have to eventually stop.
Like, if Iris wants to quit, they can't keep going.
No, they can't. And if they do,
fuck them. We'd probably stop watching.
I would.
Yeah. At the very least, we'd stop reviewing. We'd probably watch it.
What's the point of watching The Flash if there's no West Allen?
I don't know.
And don't even...
I don't know.
Chalegra?
Okay, yes.
Don't even get me started on Caitlin and Barry, okay?
That fuck's never gonna happen. But Chalegra had a cute...
They did. I like the fact that, he feels comfortable telling her those kinds of things about himself. And that she's always there to kind of give him encouraging words and advice.
Yeah.
And, that if it doesn't feel right to him, he needs to do what feels best for himself.
Yeah, she's like his voice of reason.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I love how she was like, look, I can't believe I'm even saying it, but remember that bank heist we were doing in D&D last week? And I was like, he's like, yeah, how can I forget? I look forward to our weekly D&D sessions. I'm like, oh, snap!
We're probably not going to see anything, like, develop further with them until after the crossover.
Yeah, no.
Because the crossover is focused on what it's focused on.
Mm-hmm.
And once that's over, then they can get back into the rest of what they're going to do for the season. Right. And so we'll get moments, but we're not going to get, like, more development, like kisses or things like that until later.
Because that would take away from what they're doing with the rest of the story.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the fact that Frost was saying, you know...
Make a weapon.
Yeah, and, like, what she was saying about Barry. And I mean, you know, I'm not saying it wasn't warranted, but I'm just kind of like, you know.
Right. But I mean, if you think about it, if you look at it, she's never, because Despero is threatening to kill Barry, right?
Yeah.
She's never lost someone like that. Like, personally, you know?
Yeah.
Like, through Caitlin, she lost her dad.
Right.
But it wasn't her dad, it was Caitlin's dad. I mean, I guess they're the same, but they're not.
Yeah.
You know? And so
I'm just going back into some of the things that I mentioned.
Okay. And so it's like, I don't... Because her boyfriend, not boyfriend, did he die?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think he's dead. He just, like, stole from them and ran off or some shit. And then Wells isn't dead, you know?
Yeah.
And Cisco isn't dead, he left. And so everyone, like, no one's dead, they just left. So she can still visit them, talk to them, get advice, and, you know.
Yeah.
They're still around. But this is Barry's life that she could lose. And it would be the first person that she's close to that she would lose like that. I mean, they lost Joe.
I mean, I'm glad what Chester ended up doing helped, like, stop Despero in that moment from killing Barry.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, like, and then the injustice that he said to Jefferson, like, at the end of episode 2, and seeing Alex virtually, and, you know, and then we know that, like, Mia and Alex are gonna show up, and Batwoman, and Jefferson, so they're probably gonna be all the ones that we're gonna see.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we might get Jean.
We might, but I think the only one we're gonna get from Supergirl is Alex.
Yeah. Which I am definitely not complaining about. Yeah. Alex is my
maybe favorite. Guardian.
Yeah, maybe Guardian.
But most likely probably just Alex. So.
Because Guardian is more of a neighborhood hero.
But
she's a friendly neighborhood guardian.
But Jefferson was gonna take away Barry's power.
I know. Because he invoked injustice. And I'm like, but that's not what... Okay. I mean, I'm not... But...
Yeah.
Like, injustice is when the heroes turn...
And evil. What Barry did with the lightning with Zotar?
Yes!
Like, oh my gosh. It was, but it was so cool.
Yeah, but he had no control where those lightning bolts were going.
He didn't.
Like, he could have hurt one of the officers. I was like, ah!
Yeah, he could have. But that was still really cool to see that.
It was his only option.
Yeah. So. And I like how Caitlin and Chester and all of them were talking about it. Like, well, what's he going to do with the lightning he's storing up? You know? And Caitlin's like, well, we're about to find out, you know?
Right? What happens when his body can't hold it anymore? We're about to find out.
Yeah.
Oh.
And just that West Ellen scene at the beginning.
Yes.
I got super emotional.
It's like she finally got her own "You're worth being on time for" line.
I got like I just was like, and then I like just my eyes got all watery and I was all teary. I'm just like, I love them so much.
She finally got her own quotable West Allen line.
I just love them so much.
I mean, all her lines are quotable.
They are, but
that was like on the same level as "You're worth being on time for." Like,
I just love them so much.
Yes.
They're just such an epic love story.
They are.
Like,
in every reality, we always find each other.
They're like top 5 for me.
They are.
They're
and
probably
you know what that just reminded me of, which kind of pisses me off?
What?
I'll always find you.
Oh my gosh.
You know where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
And she was supposed to be such a kick-ass character.
Oh, Snow White?
Yeah.
They were never... I mean, I liked snowing.
They kept getting separated and finding each other, so, like...
I liked snowing, but they were never, like, my top pairing.
No.
By any means.
Hell no.
Once we... Like, I didn't really... I liked them in the early seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, once...
When the relationship didn't bog her down.
Once Swanfire became a thing, and we learned about that...
Mm-hmm.
That was when I, like, really started shipping, like,
Yeah.
on that show. And then, like, Regina and Robin and, you know.
Yeah. Those were my 2 biggest ships. I mean, I wouldn't mind her with Pinocchio. Obvious.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been fine. But, Swanfire, man.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
Right. I was fine with snowing until Snow White became a wimpy ass.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'll find you. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what number they would be in my top 5. Probably like 3 or 4, but like...
In Snow White?
No, Barry and Iris.
Okay.
But like...
Yeah.
That scene. I'm just like...
Scene, though. In all realities, we find each other.
I like my art.
It's because she's his lightning rod. Like,
they're each other's lightning rod.
They are, though. I mean, you know, her and her abilities.
Like, everything that he has done since becoming the Flash has been for her.
Yeah. Everything he's gone through. She's been there by his side. Mm-hmm.
Everything that's happened to him, good or bad, has always been with her in mind.
Mm-hmm.
About their future, or protecting her, and, you know, keeping her safe, and just all of it. Like, you know, it's...
Yeah.
It's like Clark and Lois level.
Mm-hmm.
Except better.
Yeah. I mean, we can't say for sure because we haven't seen the new Superman show.
Yes, but I'm still gonna like Barry and Iris better than Clark and Lois.
Right. I mean, it's not like that show is gonna give us their, like, origin story.
I mean, my favorite version of Clark and Lois is Smallville.
Yes. Oh
but
my gosh.
The movies, yeah, they're alright. But
how many times did she die? Like,
it's just really hard in the movies for me to handle the whole her not knowing, her, like, him being a different person with glasses than he is with his cape and no glasses.
Well, I mean,
like,
he twirls his hair differently.
I just can't. Like, that's why I loved in the last episode of Supergirl that was freaking acknowledged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By Kat. I was like, thank you.
Well, I mean,
for acknowledging
when Kat
that.
left, she already told her that she knew.
No, she didn't. She, like, watched her leave from, like, the balcony, and she said, like, something Supergirl or whatever. And remember, we flipped the out.
Yes,
We're just like, oh my gosh, she knows that she's Supergirl.
Right. For some reason, my mind's like, I thought Kara knew she knew.
No, she didn't.
Right.
But yeah, so like, I have a really hard time with that. It's like, how can you possibly, and I can understand, like, wanting to, like, keep an identity secret from other people, but, like, the person that you are in love with and that you're freaking dating and with, you would think that they would be smart enough to find out what you're doing eventually. You're always leaving. You're always having to make up excuses about why you're leaving somewhere. Like, Lois is smart. She's a reporter.
Right.
She'd be able to figure that out. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's really far-fetched, and you have to, like, suspend your belief, because, I don't know.
Like, remember in, Smallville, all of his friends were told.
Mm-hmm.
No one figured it out. No one in Clark's life has ever just figured it out.
Yeah.
I mean, except for Lex.
I just think that, like, if you don't want to tell other people, that's fine. But, like, I think that the person that you're with,
I mean, if you're serious about them.
And you can trust them.
He should have told Lana.
Wholeheartedly, then I think that they should know.
Yeah.
Because because essentially you're lying to them.
Right.
Because you don't feel like you can trust them with your secret.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a genuine relationship.
Which is kind of why in the, what was it, first season? Was it the first season? No, it was second season. When Jimmy showed up.
Of Smallville?
No. Supergirl.
Oh, yeah.
It's why I supported...
No, he was in the first season.
Was he? Okay. Well, it's why I supported their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knew.
Yeah. Like Kara and James in the first season, I totally shipped that.
Mm-hmm. Like, he knew. There was no secret. When she had to leave, he was perfectly fine with it.
Right.
Like, it's not like you're always running off and I have no idea where you're going. It's like,
yeah, I don't feel like that's a healthy relationship if you have to keep it a secret from the person that you love.
Yeah.
If you don't want everybody else to know your identity, that's one thing. But keeping it a secret from the person that you love is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I have a hard time with the whole Superman thing.
Yeah. Besides the fact that glasses on, glasses off.
Well, that's just dumb.
Right? Oh my gosh.
That's why I was like, thank you, Kat. Thank you, Kat Grant.
Mm-hmm. You don't think everybody knows?
That's like the most true thing you've ever said.
Right? I think that's why she like in the first episode when Supergirl became the tagline, she saw her. She was like, yeah, no, Rich, that's you. It's Supergirl. Like, you don't think that's empowering? I was like, oh snap, she's going.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, she's always been blunt though, and she just says what she means. But like, it just, when she said that in the finale, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love you.
Right.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
Yes. But she is queen though.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, so I love them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that scene with Cecile and Iris was hard though, because
that broke my heart.
Like, I know Cecile is upset and I know she's struggling.
Mm-hmm.
But Iris has to do what she has to do to figure it out. That's what she does.
Right. And I mean, like...
And if she believes in her heart that he's not really dead, and it's all just a coincidence, then she has to not give up and figure out what happened.
Exactly. And she was giving you an option to be in it. Like, she's not saying that you love him any less because you want to go about things differently.
I don't know. I felt like Cecile, like, yes, of course, her grief was warranted, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like the way she was going about certain things was a little bit too much.
Yeah, she was like, me and my grief. I'm like...
I was like...
He's the father of my child. I'm like...
She's like, I'm
his daughter. He's my father. Like... excuse me, but
it's like yes, he was your husband. Yes, he was your
boyfriend.
Your boyfriend. They never. It's so weird. I thought they got married.
No.
But
they need to do that before
Iris has known him longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, he's her father.
Yeah.
He's been in her life longer than he's been with Cecile.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if there's a possibility that he could be alive, she has to find that.
Yeah.
And like Allegra was saying, it's too perfect how everything was done. There's too many coincidences. Like, you know, it looked so meticulously, like, you know, planned or like crafted. And
like I was saying, that just speaks to how fake the recording looks.
I mean, I can understand if like you get pushed onto the tracks and you don't have time to get up before the train comes.
Yeah.
But he just like somebody walked past him and then he just takes a wrong step and falls on the tracks. It just looked really rehearsed.
It did.
And like not real.
Yeah, they should have done more takes of it if they wanted it to be a little bit more believable.
And so, you know, but yeah, I mean, that was just like, I'm like, I like you, Cecile, but I feel like you're really just kind of being too much right now. Because I felt like she was, yes, I know it's been super hard and she's been trying so hard to like get over it and move on and not like have to think about it and be told about it all the time and be reminded of it because she thinks about it all the time anyway.
Right.
And, you know, and everybody deals with grief in their own way, but I don't know. I felt like she should have just allowed Iris that to be able to do it instead of like telling her that like it's all a fantasy and like it's not. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I mean, she also wasn't feeling her own emotions.
Yeah.
You know, she's been trying to pushing them down. Because it's hard for her to differentiate between hers and everyone else's.
Yeah.
Which is understandable.
Oh, yeah, totally understandable.
So, I mean, when she's bitching like that at Iris, it's not just her emotions that she's yelling at Iris with, it's Iris's emotions. And their emotions of being uncomfortable about the situation.
Yeah, she's projecting everybody's emotions onto other people.
Yeah. So that wasn't all just her. She might have mostly, because she's usually like really calm, cool, and collected. And so I think a lot of that was just her losing control. Because, I mean, yet her standing up to Barry about, don't you dare do this to me.
Yeah.
Like, but then later on she says that Barry was the one that was there for her. I mean, I am, like, Barry is probably there for both of them, you know. But, like, Barry was the one that helped Cecile through it. And it's like, well, if Barry is the one that helped you through it, then don't you think it's time for you to help him through it?
Yeah.
Like, that just means that he didn't give himself time to grieve because he was helping you grieve.
Right.
Like, don't tell him, don't you do this to me. It's been 6 months. Like, I understand you had, like, this great and epic love and you have a daughter. But you know what? You had your time to grieve.
Yeah.
Yes, you can still be grieving and still be in so much pain, but you gotta allow others to grieve too.
Yeah.
And it's about time Barry had his grieving moment.
Especially because, like, he's forgetting about it and and it's changing all the time and he's, you know.
Right. But like I was saying, I don't think that like,
yeah.
I think I might have started on this a little earlier, but to circle back to that conversation, I don't think that, like, we had talked about this before we did the start of the review. I don't think, like, because the whole time travel aspect of Joe's death, I think that because there was time travel involved, and it wasn't directly the same type of time travel that Barry uses. It was, what's he call it? The Steel Force, negative Steel Force?
Yeah.
So, it was through the negative Steel Force, which, yes, is an aspect of the Speed Force. But, well, it's a force, not necessarily an aspect of the Speed Force, but it's a force aspect, right? So, doing that. Okay, let's see. Yeah, no, it's not an aspect of the Speed Force because Nora is the Speed Force, he's the Steel Force, Forza is the Strength Force, and all like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Nora chose Barry to be her human outlet on Earth.
Yeah.
So the others haven't chose their outlets yet.
Right.
They don't have a human outlet. Yet.
Yet.
But I think that because it was the Steel Force, negative Steel Force, because we know there's a negative Speed Force, right? Which Nora used to escape when she got really pissed. Because Eobard had taught her how. So we know there's a reverse of all the forces. So there's probably a weak force out there because there's a strength force, right? So with the negative Steel Force, that still controls time. And why they don't just call it Time Force, I don't know. Maybe it's copyright due to Power Rangers. But because there's a group called Time Force. So. But like, I think it's because the time was like the history was changed by that other force and it was so close to Barry that because Barry is basically protected by the Speed Force. He's protected by Nora. And I think that because of that, even though it's affected the lives around him so far, it hasn't been able to reach Barry yet, which is why he didn't have a memory of it. Because even though the version that they remember of Barry did the eulogy and all that, the current version of Barry never went through that.
Right.
Like, it hasn't caught up to our version of Barry. Everybody else's mind is affected by what we remember. But because Barry is part of the Speed Force, his mind exists in a slightly different wavelength. Like, it's not entirely on our playing field.
On our wavelength.
Yeah. So, like, if Barry changed something, it's like when he went back and changed the fact that his mom died, right?
Flashpoint.
Yeah, when they did Flashpoint, Barry didn't remember growing up with his mom. He didn't remember anything that version of him did. He just stepped into the life and tried to pretend to be him. But he had no memories of growing up with mom. Just like this version of Barry has no memories of Joe dying. Because it never happened to him. If the longer he stayed in that area, the more time it would take for the causes and effects to line up to where he is. So that eventually it would connect and Barry would be affected. So at some point, if they didn't catch it, it would become a reality for Barry. Barry would just, Joe's dead and I have to deal with it. But right now, it's still trying to catch up to him because Barry's, like, not just mind, but physical body vibrates at a different frequency. Everything about him is different. So even though us normal humans and even normal metas, because they're, normal metas, not force-induced metas, like, they just basically all operate on a similar length, or like at least vibration on the vibrational level.
Yeah.
Which would be what would affect this. And since Barry's not affected, I think that's why. So.
Yeah.
Jeez. I don't know.
Yeah, like it's yeah.
great 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Jefferson coming in and, like we were saying, Barry invoking the injustice.
Yeah. And Jefferson also sharing that, like, Bill, you know, sacrificed himself to, like, save his life.
Right.
You know, so that he could help Lynn and the kids.
Yeah. I find it, like, they couldn't do it with Supergirl because that's over. And Superman hasn't joined the Justice Friends yet. So they couldn't do it with him, but Injustice isn't Flash.
Yeah.
Injustice goes about because the Joker kills Lois and Clark goes insane. Like,
Joker.
Yeah. It's weird saying the Joker killed Lois because Joker is Batman. But Joker killed Lois. It still just sounds way too weird.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Joker killed Lois. Lois died. Either way. But they were all, like, trying to find him and whatever.
It's like if somebody killed Iris, Barry would go insane.
Right. Like the whole Savitar thing. Like, that's why he became Savitar. Iris was dead. And then he goes back and be the one that kills her. So that was kind of weird for me that they brought up Injustice through the Flash.
Yeah.
Because it's just not, like, I mean, they do a lot of things differently, so I understand that. It's just my interpretation of Injustice was so, like, I do like that they were like, that Barry's like, yes, it's a protocol that we use that if one of us is losing it, the others will stop them and we will strip our powers.
Oh yeah, and with Star Labs, like, all the things that were happening, were they, like, Despero trying to kind of push Barry to lose his mind?
That's really what it seems like. Because the only way for the particle accelerator to turn on is if someone turned it on.
Yeah.
So.
And then, like, having the radiation get all messed up in Star Labs.
That little panel was
fucked
up. Yeah.
And then, like, him losing his job and, like, Barry seeing him in the street. Like, you know.
Well, Barry seeing him is because he was watching him. So, and those were moments when Barry was going through a lot of mental anguish. So he showed up to keep an eye on him. And make sure, like, so that he could be there to actually, I think being there makes it easier for him to be there. You know, like, mentally being there in that moment. If he needs to show up to be there to kill Barry, then he could just, boom, be there, kill Barry.
Right.
Which is why I think he had his little apparition following Barry around.
His, like, astral projected Despero.
Right. But I did find it interesting that Despero mentally controlled the CDC. That was the CDC, right? CDC? I mean, it wasn't the CDC because it wasn't disease control. But
Central City. I don't know what it stood for. Was it like an FBI type thing?
Yeah, that's kind of what they were because they were. I mean, not really, but they were like county control.
So when I was mentioning in text message about Joe, and I'm like, he deserved more, so much more.
Yes. You freaking sent me a meme.
I sent the Doctor Who gif of Tennant going, so much more.
Yes. I deserve so much more. I can do so much more.
It kills me.
It hurts.
It hurts my heart. My doctor.
Right? But yeah, there's so much to cover in these 2 episodes.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't mind Jefferson in this. Like, I feel like we're actually learning more about Jefferson through the crossovers than we ever did on Black Lightning.
Yeah.
Like,
he's written better in the crossovers.
Oh, definitely.
He's not a dick.
Because he doesn't have all the people around him that are influencing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When it's just him on his own, he's better.
Yeah.
So, and I love when he had Barry, when he was like, whose life is this? Mine. He's like, what am I going to do about it? Live it by whatever means necessary. I'm just like, oh, yes!
And that's when Despero chose to show up.
Yes, and I'm just like, oh, I love it.
I love, though, that they brought it back around to Arrow.
Yeah.
That the moment Barry crashed through that, and he saw the arrow and the bow and laying there, he's like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, that just snapped him out of it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I liked that was like that throwback to Black Lightning. Because that was one of the things I liked that Jefferson always said. To like his student, like the students and his kids and stuff. So I liked that.
Yeah, I liked that a lot.
And yeah,
it's cheesy, but it's great.
It is, but it's just
some things that are cheesy are just perfect.
They are, and it's just. It was needed, Barry needed to realize that it's his life and he needs to live it and do whatever he can. And
someone died to make sure that he could have this life, and he needs to respect that death.
Right. He needs to what?
Respect.
Oh, respect, yeah.
He needs to R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, it's just. There's so much to wrap our heads around that I don't know. I think,
and then like based on the promo and like the descriptions for the next 2 episodes and everything, like but I guess it's time to talk about the ending.
The ending. West
and
party.
what you said when I said about Chester, I was like, because you're like, he's a good character, he just hasn't found himself yet, and that's what I'm waiting for. And it's like, yeah, I think he's slowly learning to find himself as it goes on.
I want him to find himself and use his abilities. I want him to not just, because I think he's close to finding himself with his technology. He definitely came a whole lot closer this week when he stood up for how he believed in.
He did.
In making things.
Yeah.
But he needs. We haven't seen anything about his powers since they took him out of confinement.
Right.
And he was unable to control it when he went in. And I don't see no power dampening cuff on this dude.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll learn more. It's just gradually happening, slowly.
But that's something you do if they already have their powers under control. Yeah. And we never saw that he did.
I know. Hopefully they fix that.
Yeah.
Also, Cecile in that moment with Despero, girl.
Yes, dude. Like, you might have been sad and annoyed by your character.
I was just like texting her as I was watching it. I'm like, don't you dare kill Cecile. I was like, fight it, Cecile. Yes.
Right. Like, and I told you earlier that there's a moment where you'll be so proud of her.
Oh. Yeah. And I'm just like, fight it.
Yes. It was great. And because I watched them late last night, early this morning, or whatever. And she just got done watching it before she came over to do the review. I had her video call me right?
Yeah.
So I can see her reaction to the West party at the end of this.
Yeah, because you're just like, so much shit is going down. Cecile really shows her chops though, and I'm proud of her. And then I'm like, woo, you know, even though I'm sad and disappointed at how she handled Iris earlier. And I was like, yeah, me too. And then it got to that part, like, shortly after that. Because I'm like, don't you dare kill her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm like, shit, Despero's gonna find him and he won't have his powers because he knows where Barry is too because he got in her mind. And yeah.
And then I was just like, I need to see your face. I need to see your reaction. Yeah, I
literally, like, I like after you told me that, like, I was just like, my heart was pounding. I was so nervous about like what was gonna happen.
Because I gave her hints. The only hint, I never said what was gonna happen. I just said you're gonna be mad with Iris,
and then
Barry's gonna be sad, depressed, and angry. Like,
and then I'm just like, and then, you know, once we're like on the video and I'm like watching and it's getting to that, I'm just like,
yeah, you can tell.
I was like nervous.
It's like I was watching her hyperventilate while watching The Flash. Because we had this hella sweet moment in the previous episode where she just got done watching, and here I am telling her, you're gonna be pissed at Iris. Like,
and you're just like, he was hurt and angry, and well, I can't really blame her. And I'm like, what?
But the first, like, I was like, everyone was like crowded around there. I'm like, so who's he with though? Like, what? And then like,
well, because you're like, yeah, Barry is angry and hurt, and well, I can't blame just her.
Yeah, I can't blame just her.
Oh.
Like, because
yeah.
Like, I can't blame her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's not the only one to blame. Barry did go insane.
He did.
And maybe she's been mind screwed, but then Cecile was there.
But yeah, I mean, like all of them were there.
Everyone was supportive. I'm confused.
Chester's hair, though.
Dude was wearing a mop. Like,
I mean, maybe those were his real dreads. I don't know.
I don't know.
But it looked weird because he had it, like, pulled back like this.
Yeah.
So, like, the dreads were just, like, hanging there.
I mean, and I'm all for it. It's just...
Look, I'm totally happy that they're allowing the black people on the show to embrace their true hair.
Yeah.
The fros, the dreads, the curls, all of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome. I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
But his hair just was styled really weird.
It didn't fit him.
It didn't look good on him.
It wasn't Chester hair.
If it was, like, loose and it was just the dreads, then it might have been better.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that they styled it just looked really weird. And because this is 10 years in the future, I need to know if Allegra and Chester are together. Like, I need to know, please.
Right. So, like, I have no issue with, because Barry went mentally insane and he's incapable of being safe to be around, right? That's what we're assuming in this future.
Yeah.
I have no issue believing that that Iris would leave Barry. Because she feared for her life, she couldn't be around him. I have no issue with that.
I have issue with who she chose to leave Barry for.
Exactly. I have issue with the fact she got with Erebor Thawne. Like,
the one person who has made Barry's life a living hell since the beginning.
Right. Like, yes, you didn't marry Eddie, okay? But this is the person that Eddie killed himself to save you from.
That's like the ultimate insult.
It's not just an insult to Barry, it's an insult to Eddie as well.
Yeah.
Like, to both of your love.
But it's literally, like, the worst possible thing that she could do.
It is!
Like I was saying, you know, when we were talking about it, I was like, the only way that Iris would absolutely leave Barry is if he did something that made her so scared for her safety that she physically could not be around him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have to have a restraining order type thing because he's, like, hurting her or whatever.
Yeah.
And she had to get out, so she leaves.
Right. But Eobard Thawne makes no fucking sense.
But I feel like that's such an out-of-character thing for her to do.
Right.
Like I said, I understand if she left because he was a danger to her and her friends.
Yeah.
But choosing to be with the person who has hurt your husband,
your life
as well as his,
your friends and family's lives.
Like, everything that Barry has done has been because of what Thawne has done.
Right.
Everything that he's done in trying to change timelines has been influenced by the things that Thawne has done to ruin his life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most hurtful thing that you could possibly do to someone.
Right.
Is to be with the person who wants them dead.
Yeah.
And then, like, when they turn around and they see Barry, they're just like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
Or, like, Batwoman was like, what are you doing here?
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Chester with his hair.
I'm like, my dude! and Kevin!
Yes, yeah.
He'll always be Kevin to me, like.
Yeah, whatever his name is. I always forget.
I don't know the Asian kid.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember his name on the show or in real life. I just know him as Kevin from Supernatural.
In season 8.
Yeah, he's the prophet of God, yeah.
He had the angel tablets.
Mm-hmm. But,
Ryan Choi. That's his name.
And what's his character?
His character's name is Ryan Choi.
Okay. I thought you were saying that's the actor.
No, his character's name.
So we saw him in the most recent crossover event as one of the aspects or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember which one he was.
Yeah.
But
Osric Chow is the actor's name.
That's impossible to pronounce.
Osric Chow.
When we saw the preview, he flipped something on his watch while all the others suited up in an instant.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how
And
Batwoman
the description
was, like,
for
suited up
episode
like that,
4 is Barry is shocked when Eobard Thawne returns in the most unexpected way and with a tie to a loved one. Damien Dark offers advice to Barry, but there is a catch. Of course there's a catch. It's Damien Dark.
Exactly.
An epic battle begins with Reverse Flash pitted against the Flash, Team Flash, Batwoman, Sentinel, and Ryan Choi.
Yeah. But, he was fiddling with his watch, so he must have done something.
Yeah.
To get, like, I wonder who he's become.
Mm-hmm.
Because to stand up to Barry the way he was would say to me that he's become a hero, and I'm interested in finding out who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love this man, and I want to know.
But we get Sentinel and Batwoman and Team Flash and Ryan Choi all helping,
yes.
And it's, yeah.
I think the only reason why they'll help the Flash is because the Seal can sense probably what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So she can probably sense that he's okay. And then he probably explains to them, no, I'm from the past. This isn't, like, I'm okay. Like, I haven't gone insane yet. Like,
yeah.
I've come here to stop it. To figure out what's wrong.
I can't.
Yeah.
Anybody else but him.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand.
But it just
why everyone was okay with it.
it was just really jarring to me because we have this beautiful scene with them in episode 2. And then by the end of episode 3, 10 years in the future, he's gone insane and she's left him for Eobard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was really jarring because I'm like,
yeah,
there's no way that Iris would leave him unless it was like the worst possible dangerous thing that was happening,
mm-hmm.
and she had no other option but to do that.
Yeah.
That would be her last resort.
Yeah.
She would never do that unless she had no other choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really hard, you know. I know they're not going to ruin them.
Right.
But I was saying how, like, I was just saying how thank God this is in the future, because if this had been something that was, like, already written that they couldn't change, I would just be like, but it's West Allen.
Right.
They're one of the greatest love stories ever written.
Mm-hmm.
And you're effing them up?
Yeah.
For the sake of what exactly? Like,
story.
You know? But you can tell your story without having to screw them over. Yeah. Plenty of shows have done it.
Yeah. Not enough.
Not enough, but some. You know, so I know they won't. But if it did happen, I would just be like, well, I'm giving up on love. There's no good couples on TV shows anymore because the writers are just going to screw them all over and they're never going to be happy together.
Exactly.
Because I've already had that happen to me with other couples. I don't need it to happen to me with a couple that I love more than anything.
Right.
I mean, you know, if it's one that I love, but, like, that I'm not, like, super, super invested in, like, top 5 couple that is just one of the greatest things that I've watched,
mm-hmm.
I can kind of move on a little bit from it and be a little bit more accepting of it.
Right.
But if it's a couple like them, I can't. Like,
right.
I can't accept that. I can't accept that they will never not find each other and be with each other in every version of reality and every time and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is who they are.
Right.
And that
but
is
she
what
does qualify as Team Flash, therefore she does help them.
Yeah, and that is what makes them special, and that's what makes them West Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Is the fact that in every universe, in every reality, in every timeline, I will find you and choose you.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah.
Right.
You can't mess with that. You
mm-hmm.
can't mess with that destiny.
Oh my gosh, dude, what if the first thing he says when in the next episode, right? Because Batwoman's like, what you doing here? You know? Like, what if the first thing
I'm here to take my wife back.
The first thing he says is he looks at Iris and goes, in every version of reality.
And her ring, and we didn't talk about the fact that her ring was yellow.
Yeah. How subtle.
Like,
reverse slash, like, come on.
Yeah, that would be funny, but I don't think that's what he's gonna say. He'll probably just be like, Iris, why?
I know.
And my heart will break
I
all
think
over
he would
again.
understand the fact that he got so bad she had to leave him. Right?
He would understand that, but he doesn't understand why she would choose Eobard.
That's like, dude, when he goes back in time and tells Iris, yeah, no, you left me for Eobard.
Like, he would understand. He would probably even be supportive of the fact that, like, if he became a danger to her and she needed to leave, that it was okay for her to, like, be on her own or find somebody else.
Totally.
But the fact that it's Eobard freaking Thawne,
yeah,
is not okay.
No, it's not.
In any way whatsoever.
In any reality, in any
timeline, in any way whatsoever, it is not okay. And I'm just glad it can be changed. because it's the future.
Yeah.
And the future can be changed. The future is not set in stone.
No, it's not.
So, yeah. Oh my gosh. And of course, they're gonna like recap the next episode, and they're gonna like probably start from that scene, and I have to relive it all over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, your face when it said West Party, you're like, wait, what?
I'm like, West Party? What is this?
Yeah, and I was like,
And you're like, yeah, just West.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's a West Party.
And then I was like, I recognized the voice as Wells, and I'm like, wait, Wells?
And I was like, no, girl.
I was like, wait, she gets with Eddie? And then I'm like, she's with Wells? And then
I was like, that ain't Wells. And
I was like, Thawne?
The look on her face, y'all, it was priceless.
Thawne?
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I wish I could have recorded it and like shown you guys.
You could have screenshot it.
No, like the whole reaction.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that would have been great. See, I made the mistake of watching these 2 episodes early this morning and finishing around 3:30. So I could not react to my reaction. I couldn't give a
proper reaction
of what I just went through.
Yeah.
So I had to live vicariously through her. Having that moment.
I was like, Thawne?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was so great.
I can't. I physically cannot. Iris, what is wrong with you?
No.
Why?
Right?
Why, of all the people that you could choose to be with, aside from Barry, you would choose him?
I would have even settled for Eddie. Like, that would have been acceptable.
I wouldn't have been able to accept
You know
it.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Because he's not Eobard.
I can't accept any reality where West Allen aren't together.
Well, I mean, in a reality that you would have to accept that.
Yeah.
Like,
anybody could accept her with somebody besides Eobard.
Yeah. Someone besides one of the fucking villains we had to face, and especially the
villain that literally started it all.
Like, not just started it all, but like the villain that will forever haunt Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and the fact that in the last part of the crossover, you know, for episode 5, they have a chance to end him once and for all, forever, for good, never to be seen of again.
And they do.
But the payoff could be too much for Barry and the team to handle. So I'm really curious to know what that consequence and payoff will be if they do that. Does that mean that it'll completely change everything?
Again?
Timeline-wise, that, like, certain people won't exist?
Well, I don't think that would happen, because they can't make certain people not exist the entire timeline.
They erased the first kiss that Barry and Iris ever had.
Barry did that himself.
Yeah.
He went back in time and chose to save the city over kissing Iris. Rude.
I remember when that episode was first going to come out and we saw like the behind the scene pictures and everybody was flipping out because it was like, oh my gosh, West Allen's kiss! Ah! You know, and I was super excited.
Yeah. And
then it just is all erased.
Yeah.
Erased from existence.
Yeah.
So. And then Mia drops in from the future looking to save a lost loved one and she won't let anything stand in her way.
So does that mean she's saving a relationship? Saving a person?
I have no idea.
That they could live on to have a child or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Because right now she's a baby, so anyone that has a baby, like Ryan, maybe something is supposed to happen. Maybe something is happening that affects Ryan, and that would affect his daughter growing up, and Mia might be friends with his daughter in the future.
Maybe.
I mean, that might be a reason to keep Ryan in the next episode.
When you say Ryan, I just think of Doctor Who.
Yeah. For a minute, I wondered why it felt so weird saying the name Ryan. I was like, and then you said Doctor. I was like, right, because I don't like Ryan.
Says the performer of the week honorable mention goes to the Flash's Cress Williams. Woohoo!
Yes, Jefferson. So,
I'm trying to look. There's pictures that they released for episode 4, and I'm trying to look them up. Find them on here. Here they are. The Flash is seeing red. Iris, Batwoman, Bond, and new Armageddon photos. So let's see. I can't with his hair. Oh my god.
I know, right? I can't. If it was a little shorter, I might have been able
there's
to.
There's Sentinel, there's Allegra, Chester. Batwoman. Who's right there?
Iris. Oh wait, what? Yeah, Iris with fucking gun she's aiming at Barry.
Oh my gosh. And then Ryan Choi and Cecile.
And it isn't. Where's Dawn?
He's behind Chester.
Oh.
He's just not in the shot. Or maybe he disappeared.
I wouldn't put it past him.
There's Batwoman and Iris talking. There's Damien Dark. Barry's in the Bond suit!
Guys. Barry is wearing Bond's outfit.
Oh. Is that all the pictures? I guess that's it.
Oh, I can't. Okay, so
I guess
until
next time, keep believing in the impossible.